Welcome back everyone for the main event of the night, which is of course Team Wales fighting it out against GAM. Welcome back Mabinogi, I'm Yue standing in today, and we have the big series on our hands. Mabi, just give me your immediate impressions, your thoughts on the top of your head. What are you looking forward to here?
Looking forward to seeing Killer Queen and Levi going at it.
Oh yeah.
Because the junglers are great. I love both these junglers. Levi is a superstar legend. Everything's been said about him already. Killer Queen was an absolute menace for good and bad against his own team, but now he's looked clean, he's looked calm, he's been collected. He is still just a great jungler, but without the tendency to just fight over a red buff 1v5 and lose position for Baron, which is good. We love to see it. It's called growth.
And I believe you have been one of the biggest advocates for this why am I saying Flash? Wales roster from the very get-go. So walk us through why you are so excited about this very roster. Why is this one of the ones you're looking out for?
Okay, so first of all, Glory. I've been a huge fan ever since he came into the league. I've mentioned Killer Queen already. Then we had Nagia stepping up huge towards the end of last split, showing potential that he had shown in the VCS B League, but had never delivered on stage in VCS. And we were getting a whole new bot lane. We were getting B, the MVP from GAM, the mastermind, the one who led it all. And he was coming to Wales. Then we got Vit, who side go to Ariadne. We were meant to get Uji. But enough of that. I sort of looked at Vit and I was sort of hopeful to see sort of the difference between style on SGB and style when he was with B. Massive. I'm hoping B can do the same for Vit and bring him up to a super strong level. And his team fighting has looked fine. His lane still looks a little bit weak, but I think we can improve on that. I think that can get better. And if that gets better, I think they have more than enough potential to be the team that represents Vietnam at MSI. Talking is hard.
Look at this. There's a champion conspicuously missing on the blue side ban list.
Interesting. There is an Elise missing, and it's going to be let through. Okay.
Elise strikes me as a champion Killer Queen should be really good on. So I'm hoping to see the Elise first pick here, at least early rotation, and hopefully Killer Queen can accelerate the game. Oh, but Annie, of course, is open as well. Annie has been first pick every single game so far. So I guess we're going Glory Annie, or even B Annie, potentially. So far, Annie with a lot of success in the VCS, but Anke, what is he cooking? Why is he letting Annie through?
So that's the thing about this. It's sort of, there's a fair number of OPs left on the table. You give up Annie, but you can grab Elise and then Lucian if you want, Elise or Nami, and just try and slowly put together a composition that you want full of these OP champions. Varus as well has been super high priority. And Xin has the potential to play these double carry supports. B has also done that as well, so these double marksman bot lanes. So if I'm Hanke, I might be thinking, okay, I grab my high priority bot lane and an Elise, get a Varus and an Elise in first rotation. I'm feeling great. I can just go bot lane and get all the pressure in the world.
Indeed, and there's the Ashe. We haven't seen Ashe in such a long time, so it felt like Ashe has completely run its course here in the VCS, but there it is back. And of course, it's also the Nile pick, because B's Ashe was quite scary. So I like to see this, and as you pointed out, Xin used to be an AD carry main, so putting him on these AD carry supports should work out in your favor.
Yeah, I'm so mad.
Why did this not exist?
Sad. Okay, look, Wukong, in theory, against double marksman is pretty good as the game progresses, because he gets the free armor off his passive, he feels quite happy, and two squishy things to blow up with the Cyclone works fine. It works out well, plus you're not doubling up that magic damage for the mid-jungle duo. And taking this Caitlyn to try and match the pressure as well. If we're gonna have to see what the bands coming out
Sedge is open.
Team Wales are. Sedge is open as well. So many things have been let through because both these teams have gone for sort of these target bans. Hit the Jace, hit the Nautilus, hit the Jax, and the Draven. The only real OP I would consider on that ban list is Gragas and maybe Maokai.
And I think we just saw a Jhin support ban, by the way.
Jhin is an AD carry ban. I think in that matchup you're most likely running the Caitlyn as the support.
Thanks, I hate it.
I also I'm not a huge fan of it too either, but that's how I normally see it. But yeah, that the idea is, I guess, to remove the sort of double marksman option for Team Wales. What even else comes next? Is B willing to bust out the Kalista and try for that sort of 2v2?
Sure, it's still
Takes away
open,
the
yeah.
Karma instead.
Could still also just be an Annie, Caitlyn, the longest range bot lane of all time. Your Annie and Caitlyn, that's more than 625 range bot lane, all the because yeah, that would be cursed.
Like that lane, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty disgusting. Yeah, and of course, I mean, Lux is always available. That's still just
True, yeah.
classic.
Absolutely.
If you want to go for that, and you might not necessarily straight up win the level 1, but you will absolutely have decent push and shove with that Lux. And so top lane looks like it might just be a standard fare with a Renekton, and see what Nagia wants to take into it.
Let me guess.
Is
Nah.
Player more than happy to play a tank, so give me a Sion and
Cassandra. We haven't seen much Cassandra. He
not
hasn't
bad,
been
yeah.
very great in our patch. So all the other leagues got to play Cassandra before 13.3, and we have only seen like the weak version of Cassandra, but pretty good at getting on top of some of the ADCs in the enemy team, and should be decent in laning phase as well. Blitzcrank Hover, it's one of B's special picks, and could really go off onto 2 AD carries. It's scary in laning phase though. If you can't land the hooks, you're really useless.
Yeah, and as the game goes on, are you really
Any
happy
support,
to pull
let's
it
go.
today? Any support! Yay! That's what we want to see. It's going to be much similar to the Lux. You're not going to necessarily win out on these level 1 trades, with the Halo Blades just being in the state it is, but lots of pressure, lots of ability to cause chaos in the bot side, especially if Wukong comes, and then Glory just throwing down the gauntlet saying, alright, I'm going to play the Akali, what's your answer? And Cardi counterpicks himself.
Yeah, a little bit, but then again, the composition looks very standard, right? This looks straight out of LCK or even some of the Western leagues. This is just the bread and butter composition. We have Renekton in top lane, we have Sejuani in the jungle. So really all the honestly, really all the highest prio champions in every single position. Maybe apart from Renekton in top lane, maybe that would be a Jax in most leagues, but still super comfortable, super strong team fighting, good front to back, but there is certainly some ability for Team Wales to penetrate through those battle lines, right? If you look at the Annie flashing in, if you look at Caitlyn setting up traps so the enemy can't dive on you, and the Akali, of course, in the hands of Glory, might really be the difference maker. Very exciting draft. What do you think? After seeing those two drafts, which team do you favor?
I'm completely blind, completely nameplates off. I really like what GAM has in the state of the game right now. They have full priority lanes. Like, bot lane can kind of go either way, but very early on they'll have the priority. Renekton always gets priority. Azir should be able to outpush an Akali, so Levi can run the jungle as he sees fit, and it's up to Wales they have to be a little bit more creative in the early game to try and come back to it, find the angles they want to really go in for an attack. I mean, if you overstep a little bit too much, maybe you can lose in a situation where you've pushed up and Kill Queen get the flank on you, but I think lots of prio is the way to go, and that's gone.
And with that, we are on to the Rift with our match of the week. Team Wales against GAM. Neither of these teams have lost a single game so far this season. They're the hyped two best teams potentially, with B coming over, the B MVP. Everyone praised him the whole year. Hanke sang his praises in every single talk show, every single thing, every single time we talked to him. And now he's in the enemy team. So what do GAM know about B? And what does B know about GAM? I'm so excited to see what he can do in this match.
Okay, interestingly enough, Style has gone for not so much the win lane instantly, going for the Comets, so we'll be a little bit safer and just try to pull back a bit, provide a bit more poke as the game progresses, rather than trying to outright win the lane with these auto trades. But yeah, just I'm very excited to see. Zin is back. The man is known for his loud voice. And he was sort of the primary shot caller on GAM way back in 2019 as the AD carry, which not something you tend to see usually, but here he is sort of filling that role that B was doing. A lot of people were very down on this pickup, and I was like, and my thought on it was, sure, losing B always hurts, but he feels exactly what GAM are looking for in a replacement. I'm excited to see Zin. He's looked fine. He's looked pretty fantastic so far, and stepping up. Might have to be careful though, because a stun could go awry.
Yeah, and honestly, let's keep talking about Zin, because this pick, a lot of people were worried about losing B, and it makes a lot of sense. As we said before, a lot of people praised him in the highest of tones for being the MVP and the coordinator of all the macro plays. So we weren't really down on Zin. We were just so high on B that any pickup would have been a downgrade, right? But so far, GAM has looked pretty clean. I was super surprised yesterday to see them be great in the mid and late game, but also better in the early game now. So they've come together so quickly. Week 2 already, they're looking like a complete team. So this might just not have been the biggest loss ever. Good flash wars. Artie.
Early aggression from Killer Queen. Don't necessarily think Cardi needed to flash.
Yeah, agreed. Especially if his E was ready. Even without the E, he might have been able to just walk it out there. Now, the flash doesn't really impact the matchup too much, I'd say, because it's still super hard to get this Azir. But maybe level 6, Killer Queen could flash behind him so he can't E, and then you have an opportunity to kill. So keep your eyes on Carti's flash timer, because something could come out of there.
You could also maybe see B find an opportunity to leave that lane, but Levi gonna be spotted, so Glory's gonna keep real safe. But Levi feels like someone who could absolutely force a flash in a much more necessary manner on the Sejuani. Just a matter of time, and I've been watching this bot lane so intently. I have not seen B throw a single Q yet. I have not seen him try to stun Zin, always keeping that stun at the ready and armed, so they can't commit too much. They've lost a lot of pressure. They don't have the priority. They're stuck on the tower, but GAM just are not willing to do anything more than throw the volleys out, throw that poke. I like the actual choice from Vit, to be honest, going for those early boots. He actually started boots to just try and
wanted to mention arrows. That, yeah. Conceding early pressure to the double ADC lane, which makes a lot of sense, right? Ashe, Varus, we've seen so many of those, and they're quite strong. Yaya, looking for a little bit of a trade, aggressively into Nagia. Nagia, no mana, needs to be careful. Can't Yeah, this is very far forward, but he gets the grass proc, he gets HP back from his potion, so he should be fine in lane.
Yeah, he's leveled up alright, and this match is winnable by Cassante. I have seen it. It was the shy on Cassante, though, so, might be setting expectations a little bit high, but absolutely just fine, happy to play this out. Very hard to dive with the ability to pull someone through a wall with that all out.
Hey Marvy, it's your favorite item for style.
He's building lethality. What? This is the champion it's okay on. All he does is build decks.
Wanted to mess with you.
What do you want from me? Like, I might have opinions, but I am reasonable.
Yeah, we have the gank, but Killer Queen
coming
is only
back.
level 4, so yeah. That is just one E and one Q, and then he walks away in shame. Levi's actually had a levels, but not sure what this is about. Just clashing, just trying to clear the minions as quickly as possible. What an intense fight. Look at these teams.
This is the 2v2 we love to see. Just absolute nonsense going out and just trying to... Yeah, just trying to clear the waves, I guess. Killer Queen hits level 5 off that moment. Cardi and GAM have that first roam, but it shouldn't amount to too much with B and Vitz firmly under their tower. Cardi's just lurking in the fog of war.
Let's zoom out a little bit, as not a lot is happening in this game, and talk about the style change of both of these teams, because 2 years back, GAM would never play an early game like this, and any team with Killer Queen would never survive the first 6 minutes without a single kill happening. So, why is this happening, and what do you think about it?
So, I mean, I think B has to do a lot on both accounts, because you can feel his influence on Team Wales. They're playing a lot more pulled back. They're playing a lot more carefully, cautiously, and you also see in their mid to late game team fights that has cleaned up so beautifully compared to some of the mess they were getting up to in previous years. And on the other hand, GAM, you're sort of back to Levi, sort of as the leader. I mean, he was always captain, but you've got Levi, you've got Sin, you've got that sort of energy of that 2019 go in, kill everyone, have a good time roster. You've got 3 players, right? 3 of those players, Kia and Sin, are in different roles, but you've got the core mid jungle through 80 carry of that roster. So I can see old tendencies sort of coming alive a little bit. Just seeing
Queen with an opportunity.
Bit of a crash.
Does have an ultimate, but Kiaya flashed away, is under tower. Can they get... Oh, Nagia, that's risky.
That was not a good idea. Oh, he gets out.
Does actually work out for Nagia, and he gets first blood. First blood for Wales. And just as we talked about Killer Queen and the GAM tendencies, we finally get the first kill of the game. GAM got the first dragon, though, on the other side, so it's a little bit of trait on map positioning, where one team gets the first blood and the other team gets the first objective, which is a decent trait, but now this could swing the top lane matchup, with Nagia collecting the 400 extra gold, but Levi does not want to walk away without anything to his own name. But let's look at this again, just a pretty standard gank. The level 6 comes in.
This is so risky from Nagia, just removing half your health and going all in. It's just sort of lucky enough that Killer Queen had that second Cyclone and could run it through, but hello, Glory made it to bot lane, and that's a good pickup for Vit. They're gonna trade that for that first Rift Herald in essence, but that's
very interesting.
Now you can try and get some plates off.
Yeah, very interesting how Wales is playing around GAM's objective focus, right? Because Wales is just conceding both objectives on both sides of the rift and going for kills to trade back. So Glory knew that Levi was on the top side, because Levi was already kind of spotted, and they just deduced that he was going to spend some time with the Rift Herald. So Glory had a little bit of free time to roam, and here it's just an any engage, I assume. Yep, there we go. Flash for flash is not good enough, and Glory flashes as well, double ultimate to chase them down. We didn't really get to see this in live.
3 flashes.
Is a lot committed for just 1 kill, but the kill goes to Vit, and they get a single plating of that as well. So a decent trade. Let's see if they can sustain this triple flash investment, because now GAM with an opportunity to maybe gank the bot lane. There's a flash for Levi available, a flash for Carti. They might have the upper hand in the next few minutes.
Yeah, 3 flashes, because they sort of engaged very early. GAM were backing off quite readily in anticipation of that, but worked out in the end. Levi, he is here. He's definitely been spotted, though. They're going to spot one of the wards that saw him. I don't think they're seeing the other.
Levi just wants to lane
it's
today.
a little bit sparky, so yeah, Levi's just here. He's just wanting to crash this wave with style, maybe drop the Rift Herald.
Look at Killer Queen's ult cooldown. If they overextend in this dive, this could go horribly wrong for GAM. They need to be very careful what they do. Killer Queen is spot
He
though.
doesn't quite have Tibbers. But yeah, there we go. Just gonna back off, no Rift Herald dropped. Successfully diverted. Although, Killer Queen may be in trouble. No.
There's a lot of pressure on this play. GAM really wants to make the dive happen, or maybe at least just the... Oh, Nagia going all out in top lane. Needs to be careful, he needs to run away. He has so much mobility though, so he's fine. Kiaya just... Kiaya's fancying the dive. Is he actually gonna go for it? Looking at his rage bar, he's getting closer and closer.
Alright, Rift Herald fell. Rift Herald went down. 2 more plates are left. On the bot side, Killer Queen just can't do it, can't get in. It's hard to engage onto Ash Sejuani from directly in their face, but all in all, it's GAM coming out with very small leads, but it's the kill lead for Team Wales. They're feeling okay. That first Herald didn't amount to too much, and Dragon is coming up soon. We might see a bit of a tussle for that second Drake, for that, because it is Infernal. It's a good one to have.
There's so much tension on this map, and we know of the importance of this match as well, but both teams are just... They're not backing off from any of these positions. First item completed for Kiaya is quite important. Nagia has his own as well. Other than that... Oh! Actually, Killer Queen trying to engage on Xin, but this might actually concede the Dragon. No, Xin! That was a beautiful fallout for Killer Queen. That's the kill over to them, and now Dragon spawning in 1 second. Team Wales, once again, getting the better of GAM in the skirmish. 3-0 now in the kill score, and they will finally pick up their first objective of the map. So Wales equalize the Dragon count and go off to a 3-0 kill lead.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Just once again, sort of finding where the team isn't. They're just overloading certain sections of the map here. They've got 4 people going in to kill Xin, and that's just in time for Dragon, as mentioned. No! Okay, it didn't reset. We're all good. It's fine. Nothing happened. Don't worry about it. It's game texture soul. That means fun rift, but mediocre dragons. Hooray.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they need to redesign the soul for this one, because it's too similar to the individual dragons. All the other souls are quite different from their individual dragons, and this Chemtech soul is just the same. Again.
Yeah.
It's weird to me. They really need to come up with a different design for that soul effect, but yeah, we've seen it's a pretty hard soul to actually understand the power of, because it's all passive, right? All the other souls have an active component. But the Chemtech soul is just stats, so really hard to read. Makes you stronger in team fights.
It's... Oh, hold on. No, Cardi's not going to go for it, but... Yeah, I don't love how it's like, okay, you're meant to have the soul when you're ahead. That's sort of the reward. It's meant to help you win more, but it's sort of... Because it's only sort of comes into effect when you're already 50% health. A lot of the time, you're just never feeling that effect because you are winning fights before you got to 50% health. So, fun. It doesn't really do much for you.
Look at this map setup here for Wales. They've initiated a swap of top laners this early on. Their top lane is already in bot lane, so now they have time to adjust their positioning on the map, while GAM's just now recalling. Team Wales, this is some of the B magic, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely just knowing where they want to play ahead of time and moving the lanes into position. Mid lane taken over by Caitlyn, and that means easy rotation towards that Rift Herald when that spawns in just a few seconds. They have priority. Xin is able to sort of hunt for vision. They haven't shut them out completely, but Nagia has also been able to set up a push in the bot wave and walked up, while Kiaya just had to recall and come straight back.
Could be a big one. RB. Who has the advantage here in this fight?
Yeah, I have to give it to GAM. They just have those early strengths. The dominance is going to be huge.
There it is. There it comes.
Down to Tibbers.
The engages from Team Wales, and it's good. Kiaya's already down. Laurie on the other side, trying to look for his opportunity to go onto the back line. Wales won this fight again, and it's 4-0 now in kills. GAM is just not able to pick up anyone.
Oh, no,
but there's
Laurie.
a struggler. Laurie is in the middle of some wall, stuck there, but he gets over it. GAM. They are chasing. GAM wants a kill. GAM is so desperate for a kill, but they can't get it. Team Wales, it's clean.
They have inside track on mid. They might be able to catch out Vit if he steps too far up, but it does not seem to be the case. And yeah, it looked like they could catch Glory. It was almost the case, but they just engage beautifully, pick off the front line, and separate it entirely. Glory's just running distraction zone and the Judy in the background. And they almost catch him. They cut off his flip over the wall with the Sejuani Arctic Assault, but they don't catch him out. He dashes away, and he even still had his flash, so it doesn't matter. They were never catching him, and yeah, one pick, one objective seems to be the story of the game for Team Wales. Just kill one person and use that incremental advantage over and over again.
And I want to shout at one player and ask you an opinion about this player, because I think you gave him some MVP points in the first match they played as well, in the second match. Nagia, I thought his team fighting here was amazing on this K'Sante, just isolating Kiaya, completely pinning him to a wall, dealing so much damage as well. We saw there highest damage of his team. So this player has come really to be one of the strongest top lane of the whole league.
It's so fun with Nagia, because it was frustrating as well, because he showed up in VCSB. I was very excited to see him get onto a starting spot, and he came in and he was just on duty forever. He was permanently weak side, permanently playing on, and it was kind of just a letdown. It didn't really, and I don't know if it's just he was never allowed to show off or just wasn't performing very well. Probably a little bit of both, but he really has stepped up in Wales. He's found his groove. He's allowed himself to play carries, play things like the Lilia in the top side. But he's still the on guy. He's still able to play these tanks extremely well. His team fighting was never really in question. It was just that lane. And with that cleaned up, he is absolutely where we want to see our top laners in VCS.
I really have to praise him so much, because we haven't seen a good K'Sante at all in VCS, I believe. So to see this champion play to his...
Hasmed on tanks.
I mean, Hasmed had a really bad start to the league in general, but just seeing this new champion be executed by a VCS player is always good. And here we go again. That is a huge Q shuffle. Party over the wall. Look at Bees engaged. The Annie who found everyone on GAM is scrambling. But Kiaya gets a kill. Azir is down. Glory needs to evacuate. Kiaya down. That's a 2-for-2 trade. And in the end, everyone walks away. Kind of content with the situation. But Wales win positioning on the Dragon.
It's 2-for-2, but because they had that Rift Herald drop, they're able to force their way into the river and get this Dragon. They're gonna try and push down mid lane in response, but I don't... Okay, they are going to get it. They're gonna pick up that tower, and that's first tower of the game, so Gold is actually pretty happy for the side of GAM, ending up with a small gold advantage. But they start off so well with a great engage, followed up by B, and then Glory's a little bit left. It's a couple tower shots he didn't intend to, and then you can't really run away from Xin on the Ashe, but it didn't really matter. He did his duty in getting people out of position. That mid lane tower is low, so it can be pretty easy pickings at a later date for Wales to even up the score.
But looking ahead at the later stage of the game, if this is already going like this in the teamfights now, with Caitlyn on only one item, which is notoriously weak, right? And Glory only on one item as well, do you just feel like Wales will completely demolish them in teamfights later? Because if I look at the interactions between the champions, I don't think it's getting much better for the lethality Varus in terms of DPS output compared to Caitlyn, and same goes for the likes of Glory on the Akali. So I feel like Wales is in a super strong position to win this first clash against GAM in Game 1.
I think a lot of it comes down to what can they do with Karti. If they can catch out Karti, I think Nagira is going to have a grand old time being a big beefy K'Sante in the back line. Because, you can actually do a decent amount of damage to tanks as Lethality Varus, but it's still not nearly as effective as what Azir is going to put out. So if you can cut that down, take him out, I think you can clean up a team fight pretty happily afterwards. But you're right, it's going to be a little bit better for Team Wales as it commits. But also, you know, Poke, Varus, and Azir can absolutely just keep you away from objectives. Hold on, okay.
Killer Queen is behind him.
Forced already.
Killer Queen is now here. Nagia, Nagia played it so well, buying so much space. That was amazing. Nagia is just the best Cassandra in the VCS. I think there's no contest whatsoever. GAM on the other side.
Oh, GAM, what? That's so crazy. Okay, they've picked up Glory, but if that pulls them off the Baron, that's
okay, calm down, Glory, calm down.
Okay,
my heart was leaping into my throat with that reactivation there of the E. Holy Glory, please, don't do it to me.
Okay. And they're gonna even pick up a tower in the mid lane. It's traded off on top side by Kiaya, but just GAM trying to keep Wales on their toes, but it's just Wales that are actually making the great play. Great play. It's like right here, Cardi just has his ultimate forced so early. He just seems a little bit panicked by what Nagia can do. And then it's just really interesting how much I don't understand Cardi's choice to dive straight back towards the turret there. But with the E, scared of Cassandra, but Cassandra's on like no health. I feel like if you had sort of just stood your ground and tried to kill him, you would have at least walked away in the one for one, but...
Potentially, but I think Nagia also played it perfectly, where you just didn't allow him to do anything, with the Q chaining into E, getting the shield to go through the other side, and then attacking him there again. Really nicely done. And Nagia is 4-0 on the Cassandra. He is really scary, especially for the backline. If you're Xin in this game, how do you even play against Cassandra?
You throw an arrow at him and book it to the next town. Cardi just taking the tower shot. He will have the side lane pressure because Nagia can't really step up. He hasn't built any magic resist yet. That's got to come soon in the form of that Gargoyle Stone Plate, most likely. But yeah, right now, Cardi should have the advantage. Has the push pressure, has the ability to just poke him out with that Leandris. So yeah, Team Wales is going to be bleeding a little bit of gold just on these sides for now. 3 towers down to 1, but they're standing gold to take.
And we have been singing Wales's praises because the very easy to spot plays are all in their favor, right? They're very far up in kills, they've got more dragons and so on. Their team compositions seems to come together nicely. But look at the gold. It's actually in GAM's favor, and GAM has been sneakily just grinding down those objectives and getting more and more gold in their own back pockets. So I feel like GAM is still in a decent position to win this game, especially considering Vid is so far away from being that scary late game Caitlyn.
Yeah, 3 items is sort of where you're looking at for Caitlyn. And the poke is enough that she's sort of spooked herself into a bloodthirster. Okay, Killer Queen, what are you doing at red buff? I just said you didn't do this anymore.
That was a flash, by the way. What is GAM doing?
Okay. They're really after it. They've invested the Chains of Corruption now. Now everybody's here to kill Killer Queen. Not one.
Do they still try to fight here? Nagia could look for an engage, but now GAM is on the chase. That's a lot of low health buff, and that's Nagia going in. But he's pretty low. He has sacrificed all his HP, and he goes down. Nagia with the first big misplay, and GAM is fighting. Oh, Vid flashed forward, but he doesn't have the range. GAM wins the fight. That could be the game-deciding moment.
No, it's falling apart. The Baron is up. That's where they're going. They're going straight for it. 4 for nothing. Absolute chaos. They tried so hard, but yeah, Nagia just pops his ult way too early to try and do damage, and then can't be the tank that he actually needs to be. It's a problem we see a reasonable number of times with Cassandra.
Especially after the last round of nerfs, where it's from 60% to 85%, I believe, where you're really squishy after your ult. If you ult into 5 members, you are going to die.
Yep, it's not advisable. You just shouldn't do that. You just shouldn't pop your ult unless you're like in a team fight. Unless you're absolutely going to isolate someone over a wall, and it's just they commit so much for Killer Queen that it's almost like, okay, we should
It's
have
the
just
chain of
given it up.
corruption. The chain of corruption I didn't spot in the play, but that actually locks him down and makes it possible for GAM to chase. And here, Wales should have just disengaged. It was one kill. Okay, you lose the dragon. That's fine, though. Now you lose potentially the whole game with this overchase. And as he pointed out in the fight, Nagia just way too squishy. He dies to some AoE. Oh, never mind. We have another fight.
Oh my god.
We're in here. Card Glory on the other side. He tries to execute Style. That's 1 for 1. Can they kill Kiaya? They can indeed.
Okay, Cuddy, what? Okay, no, okay. I got a little bit confused by the kill scores popping up on the screen, but 2 for 1. Glory went and traded 1 for 1, and then Kiaya couldn't get anything in the backline himself, so small victories. Another small win for Team Wales. They're coming up okay, they're putting up a decent fight. And there's still a lot of standing gold, and it's actually them trying desperately to start a lot of these fights. It's not really anything to fight for, but they just decide we need to remove some Baron buffs, and they get 2. It's not a bad result.
Yeah, and I actually wonder if Kiaya is gonna change the way he looks at fights in the future, because I feel like we've seen him over and over again in this game just diving a bit too deep and getting stopped and getting CC'd and just dying while the rest of his team can't accomplish anything. So I would like to see him maybe look at this again and think about the way he wants to play the fights, and maybe he should stay with Kati, protect him a little bit more, try to be the countermeasure against the Kati dive, because point at CC, kinda good into Glory, for example. So I feel like Kiaya might have to adapt some of his team fighting senses.
Yeah, or at the very least, if you're going in, go in with Levi and try and make the most of this permafrost ability and try and wreak havoc as 2 men instead of just going in 1v4 and not getting anything achieved. Oh no, B!
Hey, more stuff. What? That is not okay. That is just not okay. That poor little girl just had nowhere to go for a solid 5 seconds. Okay.
He walked into it. No! That's going to give up the tower, and that's going to signal a lot of pressure.
And seconds in Baron.
Sejuani just walks on these plates. Can they do anything? Nagira is here. They don't have B, but they might be able to defend it. They're not going to be able to. And they've had no side wave pressure. Now without the Baron, they can't control the mid lane pressure either, and this is starting to look dire for the side of GAM.
Wales, I think, but
Wales, that's the one. You know what I mean. You know what I meant.
Yeah, of course. Wales are definitely on the back foot now, but I still feel like there's a lot of potential in their team fighting with these champions scaling up. I'm a little bit confused as to why Caitlyn seems to be so far behind in items. She's been able to keep track of, or keep up with the CS numbers, but I guess her items are just very, very expensive.
Yeah, her
right?
items cost more.
Yeah.
And this was fine. It just walks into it.
I didn't think he would die here, honestly, but
that Sejuani did a lot more damage than I was expecting,
exactly.
I must say. But yeah, I guess base damages do a lot. Tank base damages are high, and okay, that was half a second of scoreboard. Did you catch anything on that? I didn't.
Nope. We have to wait and pray for the next time. Well, this was maybe the first time that B was really misplaying. You can't really call him out that much on that play either. It was just a really good chaining of CC and abilities for GAM. They finally got their revenge against their former support, but B could strike back with the Annie Flash being available soon. I'm looking out for another big Annie ultimate on Kati and Style, though Style smartly adapted his build path to go for the safest choice ever and actually has the spell shield to deal with. So Annie can't just flash for Style.
The Edge of Night is actually really hard to well, I was going to say it's fairly hard to remove on their form of this composition, but just hits him with the rocket belt and just removes it instantly. So we just need to find the angle. Wukong from the top, Annie looking around from the bottom, has that Shurelia's available.
Look at that speed.
They just need the angle, but they can't quite find it. That's just so tanky.
Yeah, Xisante is not the
Yeah,
target.
it's
And here we have a big
Nagia.
flank. That is really nicely done. Nagia is in there. Glory is in there. B goes down. But look at the back line. Glory can execute almost everyone. There's the first target dying. Vit is slowly but surely training up the DPS. I think this is Wales just running away with a huge fight victory. Beautifully set up. And Glory and Killer Queen together with Nagia on the backline. Kati is just running away. Kati, he's trying to book it to the wrong side of the rift though. So it's a big chase for Glory.
Minions. Yeah, should run down eventually. Though might get the execute. Yeah. Oh no.
Never mind.
No, he's gonna turn around. He saw Nagia. I think he saw Nagia in base and just made a mistake. Didn't realize that he was teleporting immediately out. But huge team fight, and it's a nice even spread of the damage. Nobody is carrying anyone else except maybe B, but he's the support. He's not meant to do damage. And it's gonna be a few mid lane towers. It's gonna be a rift, a Baron as well, potentially.
Yeah, definitely Baron. Can they do anything about the dragon? GAM is pinging the dragon, but B is already there.
Constellation Dragon. I think it's got to be a Constellation Dragon for GAM. I don't necessarily know if you can get there in time to force it, but they blow all their major CC on Nagia, and that gives the opportunity for Killer Queen to just come straight into the backline with Glory as well. Pincer maneuver, just tears the backline apart, and Cardi just exits so quickly over the back wall.
Just beautifully played flank from two different sides, 3 angles even. Glory and Killer Queen's coordination was amazing to watch. Glory wasn't even level 16, so he lacked some of the execution damage at the start of the fight. Now he is 17. He has more items.
So is Killer Queen at level 16 as well. So that Queen's even gonna do way more.
Yeah, and you pointed this out in Champion Select. We have a double AD carry composition with 2 immobile AD carries in Ashe and Varus against Wukong Akali. What do? They just die.
They need to, obviously the idea is, they have good CC to sort of defend themselves in some ways, but they dumped the arrow, they dumped the the glacial prison onto Nagia, who was just standing there not doing anything. And without that, they only had the chains to corruption and maybe even the stream of shuffle, but those just didn't do anything to stop Wales in that last fight. They did get the dragon, did GAM, so they're not out of it yet. Soul point is there, and it could be a difference maker. Ooh, it's hard to burst through Levi with that passive up there.
Man, I'm getting so excited for the whole season because we expected so much from this match, but every time you talk up a match, you're a little bit scared, right? You're like, oh, hopefully it just lives up. It would be so sad if it doesn't live up to the hype, but we can well and truly say these two teams are probably the best 2 teams in the league right now. 4-0. And what a fight so far. I'm so impressed with the Team Wales' team fighting especially, but GAM has also stood their ground remarkably well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a sort of a nice mix of early game sort of macro decisions, playing across the map, each other, just dodging Levi in the early game from Wales. Some great individual outplays from certain members, and just now the tables have turned. The graph is gonna be a little bit of a roller coaster when we get to see it. But I'm just excited to just see Glory constantly positioning, just threatening these flanks, and just letting the Baron, letting Vit do what he needs to do on this tower.
B is looking for the engage angle. Prop to Shurelius, but not quite there.
I think just want the tower. That's a lot of standing gold picked up from Team Wales. That has catapulted them straight back into the lead. Now they're 3k ahead of GAM when they were about 3k down before that team fight.
Yeah, and Vit is now sitting at 3.5 items. He is hitting hard. You saw some of those attacks onto Levi, who's the ultra tank in the enemy team, dealing 800 damage on the headshot crit. So you can't ignore the Caitlyn. We know Caitlyn is an insanely strong hyper carry in the late game. Super safe and can reposition as well.
She doesn't even have her IE.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting closer though.
So long for some reason, but absolutely able to shred these tanky front members of GAM already. and it's only going to get worse.
What do you think about this Annie build, as we have a little bit of a lull? I'm very interested to see more Annie support, because I haven't really seen much of that being played. Most Annies are mid lane, so we have a choice here that kind of fascinates me in terms of items. Anathema's Chains on Annie, so longest CC duration for the chained target in the opponent's team.
Which is a Zia, judging by the little icon we can see there, so they sort of had the same read as me. You want to kill that Azir first, or make them unable to participate in the fight. And I like it. I mean, you're mostly a stun bot as Annie in support. You're not really there to provide any damage, so making it so people's stuns are longer, because you really only get one go of a stun.
Here he might be with the go.
So.
There it is, the engage, and Style, he just has to run away. He's out of the fight. Now Glory's here, and everyone from GAM is just trying to run away. The big tanks, they can't do anything. It's Xin. Kati wasn't even in the fight, but can they actually get a kill? Yeah, Style goes down on the side. Took a long time.
Buddy. Look at Kiaya, look at Levi. They should have died. They're so close. Vic flashing forward to try and pick those up, not quite coming together, but...
Wait, what are we doing here?
Okay, Glory.
Artie just flashed over the wall for that one. Oh, Glory, no! Oh my, cut the tape. They still win the engagement. They get the flash from Kati, which is actually quite big for the next team fight. Kati wasn't even participating there, and this late in the game with their main DPS, they couldn't fight. But I do like that GAM instantly recognized that they couldn't fight and just ran away. They only lost one member, so prevented worse from happening. We've seen so many VCS teams chase losses and chase bad situations. So GAM showing discipline here, even though they lose, and it's an amazing engage from Team Wales. They still show that they are a good team and a very conscious team of what's going on the map. Style has to sacrifice his flash and his GA is down, so now he's up for the taking in the next team fight for Glory. But still, a lot of credit has to be given to GAM for recognizing that this was unwinnable, and now they're on the Baron.
Yeah, they know they can't fight this, but oh my... Okay, yeah, GAM's here. They haven't checked for Killer Queen.
Oh no! The steal is coming in! And we have a fight, and now GAM there's no way GAM can win this fight. Nagia is alone in the backline. That's one kill already. The second picked up. This might be the game, as GAM is just running away, and Team Wales running over them in the team fight, stole the Baron, and now they're onto the backline. That's Kati and Style. Killer Queen with a really good stopwatch. There's no chance for Style whatsoever to survive, and that's a 5-4-0 ace. No, never mind. One.
Oh, 5-4. Can't have everything, but you can have Baron, you can have the team fight, and you can most likely have this game, and that is first point to Wales. And this matchup is looking to be an absolute banger. Can we get 3? I think GAM's going to be angry after this one.
And GAM is the first team to drop a map between those two teams. B gets his revenge on his old team. He left them. He wanted to get a title away from Style and from Kati, Levi, and Kiaya. And he's showing everyone that he, so far at least, was the deciding factor. B1, GAM 0.
Absolutely huge. You could see GAM just struggling, like trying to recover. They didn't check their jungle at all for that Baron setup. And honestly, that was kind of huge from Killer Queen, because Killer Queen's on blue team. He's not meant to be coming from the red side jungle, but he sneaks his way in. He picks up that smite. They clean up the fight afterwards. I'm lagging.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at the stats, because we want to see what actually happened in the game in terms of damage dealt. There's it's a big spread on the side of Wales, honestly. Everyone dealt a lot of damage. Look at that jungler, 20k damage from a jungler. And Kasanti, tank by the way, XD.
Yeah, tank, absolute, yeah, just, ugh. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of made the joke about it when they had that big team fight that brought them back into it. It was like 4,500 damage for each of the 4 players, and then a little bit for B. But yeah, it was a huge team effort from the side of Wales. Can't fault anyone. It's hard to point out a huge, this guy was the hero, because everybody stepped up and everybody came to play against GAM.
And I was so impressed with the way they played team fights from so many different angles, so many cool engages they found. And even though they fell behind in the early game in some of their early map rotations, the plan was clear. Trade kills for objectives, and it worked out in the end. I don't even know whom to give MVP to, because all 5 players played so well in this game. Maybe Nagia for some of his individual performances and some of the very good team fight setups, but Killer Queen, Glory, B with the engaged sense, and Vid staying safe. I don't think he died a single time this game. Maybe once.
I think he definitely died, but it was like in that situation where they wiped the whole team, right? So hard to blame him in a team wipe scenario, and just oh man, it was really well played from both sides. Both sides went at it. I mean, you saw the goal graph going up and down. It was lovely to see. I'll get 2 more of them, please, waiter.
Exactly. We're going to go catch our breath for the second game, because that was a 38-minute absolute banger of a game. Let's hope for 2 more as we go into the break, and we'll be back with game number 2 between GAM and Team Wales. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to game number 2 of Wales against GAM Esports. Hopefully we're in for a little bit longer, because that first game did not disappoint. I want to see more of that. GAM with a very traditional composition, Wales with an interesting composition, with a lot of flanking potential, and the flankers won in the end. Very good engages here and there. What does GAM do to eliminate some of that volatility in terms of team fighting?
Oh, I think one thing you should probably look to do is maybe take away the Wukong. Killer Queen has played 3 games of it so far, 4 including the one just played, and it's been a great part of their success. It lets him dictate some of the engages, and I feel he's done an absolute wonder with that. He was a huge part of their win. Nagia, I mean, yeah, I feel like Nagia's just going to do that pretty much whatever he plays. He's pretty comfortable with whatever. I guess maybe play for a little bit more better lane matchups, because this time around you were playing for pure priority rather than what will absolutely dominate. Just push rather than demolition of the enemy champion. So maybe go for that. Maybe you're a little bit happier playing something that scales a little bit better as well. You can run the Zeri, perhaps. You can run, I don't know, Zia wasn't necessarily a problem, but I don't know. There's so many things GAM could do. Yeah. I just don't know.
What about the jungle? Because the Sejuani, of course, we see a lot of bans on her, we see a lot of global priority on her, but in the VCS, she's sitting at something like a 40% win rate. Is Sejuani the answer for GAM?
Oh, I mean, Sejuani is really, really good, and Levi has definitely been a good Sejuani in the past, so I don't think necessarily that was the problem. Maybe if you pair that up with a mid laner like Silas or an Akali of your own, and try and give her a little bit more opportunity to make things happen in the early game with Permafrost, that might do a little bit better for you. But I saw nothing terribly wrong with the Sejuani pick. Maybe just some poor decisions on where you threw your ultimate in a couple of key locations.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, in the end, I don't think it was a single player on the GAM side. I do feel like there was just overall better team performance and better team fighting from the side of Wales. I don't think you can pin this particular game on anyone in particular. Maybe a little bit of a question mark on Carty's performance on Azir. He seemed a little subdued to me. I would like to see him have a little bit more impact in the next game.
Yeah, I mean, this time I wouldn't be surprised if this time it's red side for the side of GAM, and maybe this time they're more inclined to, they might have the same priority on Annie and give Cardi that sort of engage option, because that was kind of Cardi back in the days of old. He was like, we sort of thought of him as sort of the set player when he first joined GAM. Like, he liked to get in there and start things up for the side of GAM Esports, and he's sort of a returned form in that respect. Lets him initiate, but still has that sort of mage damage dealer role that he's come to embrace.
Yeah, very true. Also, looking forward to see what style is gonna select this time, because the Varus, it didn't look terrible. It did what it was set out to do, like what Varus is supposed to do. It poked a lot, it won lane, it played decently, but of course, Varus never the highest DPS in the game, so would maybe like to see a change of ADC champions there. We've already seen the Ziggs yesterday. Interesting choice. His Zeri is quite strong as well. Might go back to something like Aphelios, even though that's next patch mostly. But we've seen glimpses of Aphelios here and there on 13.3 already. So yeah, I feel like style could be one of the key changes in terms of champions picked for his team, to provide a little bit more team fight consistency, I guess, with DPS champions. Also, not the biggest fan of Kiaya's performance in Game 1. As a certified Kiaya fan, I feel like he was a little bit lost in some of those team fights, going back and forth, not sticking to one target, and overdiving. So, would not hate a different Kiaya champ either.
Yeah, I mean, he went for the Renekton, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with Kiaya's Renekton. Fundamentally, it's his most...
Traditionally, it's very good.
it's usually very good. But yeah, that game he looked a little bit lost. He was a little bit torn between trying to do a bit of damage and be a tankier member. So I think maybe he's giving him a more focused role. Give him a Jace so he's like, okay, I am playing to do damage, or I am playing to do tanky stuff in the back line as a Scion. All that sort of thing. Give him a bit more direction, and I'm sure he can figure that out from there. But continued Varus priority. It's
Look at that win rate.
just not sure what. Yeah, 30%. That is not good. And two of those wins are actually on this, so this might just be more of a takeaway than trying to actually keep it or like try and utilize it for your own benefits. But Ash picked away opportunities to go for a Caitlyn or a Jhin.
Or Elise.
Or an Elise. It's not a bot laner, but yes.
Oh, we stay with the theme. It's gonna be an icy composition. Where's the Nivea?
Alright, give me Lissandra.
What? Lissandra, yeah. Lissandra drop and Nivea mid.
Give us all three Freljord sisters. Let's go. Then a no-born.
Braum.
Speaking Braum as well. That would mean Ash would be ADC, which is a little bit unusual, but not by any means unviable.
Look at this
Anyway,
win percentage here. Wukong 85%. And you talked about Wukong being a priority for Killer Queen. They forewent the Wukong in favor of the Sejuani. So the same matchup again, same sides of the matchup again. Red side Sejuani, blue side Wukong with different players.
Yeah, and the Jax lock-in. I feel that this is part of the goal, and I feel we're gonna see a tank from Nivea. I think they saw Varus this early on and went, okay, we can just build the tankiest team, just two big beef balls, and Varus is gonna feel a little bit unimportant in this game. Although that we have seen Jax. We have seen Darius as a counter pick in the LPL.
It's locked!
Xingtian. Yes! Alright, baby!
Nagia bringing us the spice again. First as Lilia last year looked amazing, and now he has another counter pick, another pocket pick in the Darius in top lane. Okay.
Okay, alright, let me do a little bit of Googling, because I need to check Xingtian's stats. Because he has been running this in the LPL over on Top Esports quite at least a couple of times, and he has done very well with it. Yeah, it's just it's game. It's that's the choice. He's picked it mostly as an answer into. Let me double check. Mostly into Fioras. So the Jack's a little bit strange one, but yeah, I feel like I'm excited. I don't know what Darius thinks abilities are called. I don't see him very often.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of him, of course, in the EU with Adam playing some of the Darius games. Usually goes Ghost and Flash in the top lane and plays a very volatile kind of playstyle. Gets pretty tanky, especially into the likes of Varus. Varus, if he gets ahead, Varus will struggle to kill this Darius, but we continue with the melee champs, which I really like, because we have Sejuani, so double melee solo laners is exactly what I want to see. So much gank setup now, and GAM needs to be super careful. There's no Kassadin available, so they set up the Silas in the ban phase already, banning two of the champions that are very good into the Silas, which are Kassadin and Rice, but instead we actually go back to an old school classic from Carti, which is the Orianna.
Yeah, and we are going to see some fun sombreros coming out of Glory. This time they will be probably good, because he wants to wear it on his head. But now, what do we go for? The Jhin is banned. The Sivir lock-in would be interesting.
I like it. Here, a lot of melees with extra movement speed and extra engage. I always like that. Now the Darius is Ghost, he has the Sejuani to back him up, and the Sivir ultimate to run down the targets. And on the other side we have Orianna and Varus, two kind of sitting duck champions in the carry positions. If Darius gets on top of them, add a Sejuani, add a Sylas, gonna be a rough team fight to play out.
Yeah, it's sort of saying once again that they're not necessarily looking to win the lane in bot side, but absolutely Sivir complements the team composition of Wales. So I'm very excited to see if they can pull this one off. It's a little bit riskier than what they did last time, but it is just sort of run at you. It's the meatball composition, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see the first Darius of VCS in ever.
Oh, there was one game I remember vividly. Ariety playing bot lane Darius. That was a banger. But yeah, top lane Darius we haven't seen in a very long time. I'm not sure if ever. I don't think I've ever cast one. So excited to see what this champion brings. We can certainly say this composition for Wales is once again a very volatile one as we head onto the Rift for game number 2. And there's a lot of snowballing potential. It could also go the other way, where if Darius, Sejuani and Sylas fall behind early, they might just get run over by this straightforward composition for GAM.
A late game Jax with an Orianna ball on his head could absolutely tear Wales apart if it gets to that situation. But okay. Everybody get bot lane!
Right into the fight, Kiaya. Everyone is just disengaging. Okay, it looked way more exciting than it ended up being. Wales is not really done yet. They want to eliminate all the towers. And there we go again. Glory finds another engage, but has he bit off more than he could chew? Yes, he certainly has. He's on 1 HP. He's walking away. He still has his flash. I think it's super,
still has flash. It's all going to be okay.
What a start.
Okay, in the end, Style had to blow his flash and Vet had to blow his heal. So, a couple of summoners traded in the bot side and some turrets cleared. Glory's going to teleport to lane straight away as well. So,
that was a weird one.
Little bit of small advantages gained. Cardi could be quite happy with that and could definitely turn that into something.
But Glory really needs lane priority now for investing his teleport, because if he falls behind here, he is not going to be able to get back to lane early. So Glory doubled down on the early wave, and this could be a punish for Levi. Yes, Glory still has his flash, yes, he has his E to get away, but still, if you push him out of lane, you don't even really need to kill him here. If you just push him out of lane, he's going to fall so far behind.
Yeah, he's definitely sort of looking for that shield reset, and the early Hail of the Blades, Hail of Blades trade coming in, but the Ignite returned onto Vit, so lots of damage being traded early on, and just both sides chugging through their pots.
Yeah, really cool little detail there for B, trading aggressively with this Barrier, instantly level 1. Barrier, shortest cooldown summoner, together with Cleanse, I believe, so you can do this quite a few times in laning phase. It's not something you need to sit on for the whole laning phase just to be safe. You can also use it aggressively. The Darius tried to get him into tower range, not quite able to do so.
Yeah, it was quite interesting seeing how that interaction with the pull works on the Counter-Strike, able to sort of bounce him out, but here's Killer Queen.
What are we doing?
Just gonna sort of send him back. There's too many minions to really commit to it, so I think just easing off the pressure of this Jax, letting Darius set up a good. Okay, not a freeze.
Never mind, freeze.
Cleaned up the whole thing.
Just cleared the whole minion wave. So, Barbie fortunately didn't get to complete her sentence there because Nagia was not on the same page.
No, I mean it seems to be sort of held and sort of set up in a slow push at least. So. Doing okay, doing quite comfortable for himself is the Darius.
Yeah, a little bit surprised they didn't try to go for a more aggressive trade there. They were probably scared of a counter gang from Levi, because if you get on top of the enemy Jax there with the Sejuani stun, could be an easy kill.
Okay, we didn't get to see that, but Levi went mid and Blue Glory's flash. He did escape though, so not that bad.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I talked about earlier, right? Because now he has to walk back in shame because he blew his TP for no reason level 1, so he's gonna miss quite a few minions and crucial experience to get to level 6. That could be a return gang for Levi, but Levi did invest his flash as well, so no level 6 flash available instantly to punish Lori again.
It's also interesting to see that because of Killer Queen's little foray into the top side, he kind of fell a little bit behind Levi in terms of just farming and just couldn't quite get there in time. He's managed to catch up though and stealing away these raptors. But the spot side is just a lot of damage down onto B. I feel it's just gonna be a bit of trading back and forth, just trying to mow through these waves as the Sivir and just let it all be fine from there.
Yeah, but it seems like Sivir Ash is actually winning these early trades for now. Really nice kiting from Nagia, getting out of the range of the E-stun there, and so far it seems like he's on top of the matchup, but Kiaya is also able to just stand in there, just farm he's not too perturbed by this counter matchup so far. Not sure how it turns level 6, because of course Darius level 6 is one scary champion to play against.
Yeah, I assume it's gonna this is gonna be a little bit more even than some of the other ones, because Jax is a fairly tanky fella on his own merits, but okay, we're gonna see this first dragon being taken. Killer Queen's lurking, but I don't really
Lori just
know
hit
if
6.
this is
Everyone is walking down. This could be the first big clash. And there's Lori. There's the Chain of Corruption stolen. He's going to go in there on the Varus. Varus is down first blood for the side of Wales. But GAM trying to fight back. That's one kill back for Levi. There's another kill. And Vid needs to do all the carrying as B doesn't bring the damage. That's 3 kills for GAM. B desperately trying to chase down his former jungler. But he has to disengage. And that's a 3-for-1 trade plus Dragon for GAM.
Yeah, you just sort of saw it at the end there, those stacks, that Iron Will, that passive from Levi, that Wukong just able to carry him through and stop Vit from really doing the damage necessary, and they walk away with absolutely everything in that fight. It's just a little bit too aggressive to just try and pick up the thing. It's just a bad call, I think, from Glory to try and kill Style and go into that pit when Cardi was just right there as easy pickings, and then some poor target selection and just, yeah, the 280 carries can't cut through that Wukong with that passive bonus armor, so almost got him there, but airy shield too damn good.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you there. Target selection was a little bit too formulaic, I guess, just going for the ADC. But you have to consider the actual champions involved. And there was Varus before level 6, and there was also Heimerdinger and an Orianna level 6 walking on the other side. So I feel like either of those targets would have been the better choice. Because Heimerdinger, he's a support, but he's not dealing support kind of damage. Especially if you walk into his turrets, as Lori just did there. So a little bit of a blunder for Team Wales, and GAM, for the first time really in this series, getting a kill lead.
Yeah, trapping yourself in the pit thing, just not great. Banana Gear's going for a little walk down the river. He's going to find himself a Levi and a Carti.
Carti does have his ultimate.
Quite yet, but Ghost is blown.
Shockwave was coming up like 2 seconds later. Didn't want to commit it into the Ghost though, but Ghost Forced makes Kiaya's life much easier in lane, and so far the Darius hasn't really done much, so not too impressed with the efforts for Nagia and Killer Queen on the top side so far in this game.
Nothing has really come to it. Now this first Rift Herald is in play, and it's just GAM there first every time. They're going to try and turn onto this Jax. Lots of CC potential. It's
okay, Carti flashing?
Off?
Nagia.
That's a little bit... He can't get the Q off! So he's just gonna die, and that's a Rift Herald down as Levi never left it.
Oh, that's another one!
Oh.
GAM stomping the top side now as well, and this is what I talked about. Wales' composition is so volatile, it could fall apart if you don't get the early success, and now they're 5-1 down in kills. GAM playing the more consistent style, and what a great counter gang from the side of the mid laner. not even the jungler, it's just the mid laner walking up.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, the flash, I guess the flash was blown from Nagia earlier, or he just chose not to use it, but just so much damage already coming out from the Soriana, and just absolutely tearing it up. This team from GAM, this wombo combo sort of almost late game team in theory, mid to late game, just off to a commanding lead, and this is such a fed Oriana. She's already well on her way to a Leandris.
And we all know about Carty's Oriana. It's so good. He played it all the time 2020 when he was still on Flash and beat GAM with this Oriana pick in teamfights over and over again. So GAM definitely knows about the strength of this champion, and we've seen whispers, or we've heard whispers about Oriana being better than her presence and pro play would account for, especially as an Annie counter, but I like to see a little bit of Oriana here and there. Very cool champion to follow, especially if you don't see her every single game, which used to be the case, of course, in Season 5.
I have definitely been sick of Oriana before.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She's been missing for a while now, so it's all okay. It's all fine. Anyway, there's going to be more pressure put mid by Levi. Just as Rift out, Killer Queen in the area. And it's also very hard for GAM to really get, for Glory rather, to get things done. He does not have amazing ultimates to steal. Kind of just that Shockwave to work with.
No.
The Jax one's okay. But
Heimerdinger is much better than Shockwave. Shockwave is not great.
I don't know. Either way, I'm not terribly sold on the Donger ult.
Yeah, maybe not the greatest selection of ultimates. Jax is actually not bad. Wukong's can be decent, but Nagia trying to go for a little bit of a chase in top lane. Doesn't have his ghost, doesn't have his flash, so Gaia is safe. I feel like we need to also talk about the jungle matchup, because now we've seen 2 games back-to-back, Wukong against Sejuani, and both times Wukong has gotten the better of the Sejuani. Speaking of Sejuani, finally finding their kill, and that should go to Glory. Hello? Can you please kill? Okay.
There you go, that's one, but it's going to be traded back instantly as Shax makes his way down, and so does Levi.
Too greedy. No. Yeah, they wanted the kill, so badly wanted the kill to go to the mid lane that they just gave up positioning entirely, wasted too much time, and it's once again a negative kill trade, plus the Dragon to GAM. It's really not coming together in this game for Wales.
No, this is kind of completely falling apart. It's going to take a big miracle team fight to sort of bring it back. I mean, Darius can do that. He's done in many a game of solo queue, and just trying their best, but they can't quite set it up correctly. And
did he lose the stacks there? Almost looked like he lost the permafrost stacks.
I feel like they just thought the Cyclone would be enough, but I don't. Cyclone's not the Cyclone conversion onto AP isn't very big, and also Glory doesn't have much AP at this stage of the game, so it's just trying to get greedy with the walk away, and
maybe not the greatest Wukong mechanics on the Sylas player, because if you want to go full damage, you don't really, especially level 1 Wukong ultimate, you typically don't let it go through the whole time. You just use the knock-up and go through the rest of your spells again. They changed some of the damage profile, so you can actually just use the ultimate, but especially on Sylas, I feel like just using the knock-up into your usual spells and your auto attacks would have been the better choice there. Regardless, now Wales is really far behind, finding themselves 3k gold down. And Marby, how can they mount a comeback here?
Alright, I mean, you're looking for the big picks. You're trying to pick off Carty in particular, once again, because Soriana is a menace. But if you can stack up as that 5-man unit, I think you can actually do something quite useful. 5-man Shockwave is always something that can ruin something if Glory can get the angle. There's definitely potential in a big 5v5 team fight, but they just need to get there. They also have great pick tools if they can actually land an arrow from B.
Could it be Vit as well? Later on?
I mean, yeah, 500 CS win condition Sivir is always
it's a classic.
Real.
Yeah.
It exists. It's just a matter of getting him that 500 CS and getting him to those item points, and it's just not quite coming together at this stage. And now they're looking to take down Darius once again.
And the Darius has been a failure in this match. I wouldn't completely go away from the Darius pick in the future because I can go better in the next few games, but you probably have to make the first gank work if you ever want to play this Darius again. And just looking back at that first opportunity, they could have chased it more aggressively. They could have looked for Ki, at least burn his TP and his flash. Instead, they just walked away, and ever since, no real opportunity has arisen for Killer Queen, who is paired with 2 melee laners and still hasn't really had any game impact. So Sejuani looking like a little bit of a trap pick.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel, even if it's not so much the pick itself, as it has absolutely had success in other regions, just maybe you want that something a little bit more familiar. They're a bit more familiar with the Wukong, or maybe just, I'm surprised we haven't seen quite as much for Vi. We've seen very little Vi from.
You know, we could also just pick Spider. Want to go early game.
We could also just pick Spider, but that would go against the unbreakable rule of VCS, which is punish spooks. I'm afraid that's sort of the big issue with Spider picks. And, it's just not working. Nothing they do seems to be working. The vision, they're slow on their uptake. They're not rushing the Umbral Glaive for B, so they're not able to try and choke out vision. It's just not coming together.
Yeah, almost every position has an advantage in items now. Maybe the only one who's kind of able to stand up to his counterpart is Vit. A pretty strong point for this Sivir, definitely not enough to carry a team fight yet, but individually he just completed his cull. He's on a good trajectory, just needs the rest of his team to step up, which is kind of funny if we look at this team setup, and everyone was doubting if Vit was good enough. And now Vit is the one actually keeping them in the game, and all the other, especially the top side, faltering for Team Wales. But we've always known that Killer Queen and Glory are pretty streaky players, very feast or famine players. So no surprise there, to be honest.
The famine had to come eventually, and if you're being up a game in a series against one of the other projected top teams, it's not the worst place to have it in the game 2, as long as you can put it back together for game 3. And I mean, look, they tried something a little bit different. They tried something a little bit, quite a bit away from their usual style of play, and it didn't work. I'm not gonna condemn them for trying, but we need to see Killer Queen. We need to see them try and get at least a dragon, because they need to stall out this soul, because Hextech Soul is just too strong to play against. And if they can't delay that, then their only hope really is delaying 5 minutes and then flipping an Elder. And I do not like the chances on that.
So, speaking of that upcoming dragon fight in about 3 minutes, what kind of item breakpoints are we looking for? If we're very optimistic for the side of Wales, another item for Vit, another item for Glory?
Considering Vit already has that Caulfield's Warhammer and has a completed call to work with and sell, I can definitely see that Navori Quickblades coming in time and just sort of trying to get as much pressure down for that dragon fight. I don't think you're going to get much else. Maybe, hopefully Killer Queen can complete an item, maybe B can get his Imperial Mandate finished. But I think your main hope is that Quick Blades is enough and Glory can put that stopwatch to good use. And I've never been impressed with this bargain basement style of Sejuani build where you get the Barmies and then just rush a War Monks. I would much rather see you just commit to a Radiant Virtue early.
I mean, it makes sense into the likes of Styles Poke Varus, right? Because you want to absorb the poke and then go back and get healed back up to full HP, kind of nullifying the impact that the poke can have at the start of the fight. So I understand the thinking behind it, but maybe this is not the game where You might have to
Feels
dive in.
Too squishy.
Yeah, exactly. You're quite squishy there. And we see a bit desperately trying to complete his item, but he's still a little bit away from that. 2.5 minutes on the timer. So he has about 2 minutes more before he has to recall and try for that second item completion. I feel like if they get to Navori, there's about a 20% chance they could win the fight. If they can't get to Navori, I can't see them winning.
Yeah, it's not. It would take a massive fumble, and with this Rift Herald push coming down as well, they're going to keep them absolutely chained under this tower. It's going to make it really hard for them to push into, and they can set traps around these Hex Tech gates, which would normally let Vit be able to sort of recall a little bit later. Hello, there's a shockwave.
GAM might have overextended there. Oh, that's a good kill. Following up that, Sejuani was not very tanked, but now Glory looking for his opportunity. He's flashing in there. He's in here. Can he find anything? Good delay, and now Vit on the chase. But no kill goes down, and Team Wales just fading away. Good kill for Style, and Vit in no man's land. That's one more fight going in the favor of GAM. Team Wales, they were persuaded to go for the fight, even though they didn't have the items. Nice ghost.
Yeah, GAM just trying to force it before Nagia could get those quick blades. If he had them, that fight would have been so different, but just shy of crit cloak and a combined cost. And yeah, just fighting it as early as possible, just trying to make them uncomfortable. Killer Queen just melts. He has only health. He has no resistances. Glory had picked up a pretty bad ultimate.
Yeah, Jax, but the way he played the Jax ult was really bad, because he had the Jax ultimate and then he was in the middle of 4 people. So if you ulted there, the Jax ultimate would have been huge, would have given him so many resistances, so much damage. But instead he used the Jax ult on a single target and then went into 4 targets. So some big question marks on Glory Silas, I feel like, after this game. He had multiple misuses of different ultimates in this game.
Yeah, I think just a little bit of a misunderstanding on these uncommon ultimates, because normally there are sort of ultimates you're like, yes, I will always pick Silas into these and always steal these ones, but you don't really have that on this team. Again, Shockwave is probably the one you're most familiar with as the mid laner, but just can't quite put it together. And now full control over this bot side river for GAM. It's up in 2 seconds, and that's going to disappear. Wales can't get in, so they're gonna just try and get Baron instead.
But so late.
Slow on response.
So late. They just they missed their opportunity for any counterplay. Now they're just gonna walk away in shame because they just gave up a soul with no fight.
Just gave up. They can't fight now. Not really.
They're not heeding you. They want to fight. I mean, if they lose, it's a professional surrender, but one more chance. That's Darius down. Very easy kill for Levi. The Baron is right there. They just need one more kill for the Baron. Kiaya is on the chase. That's a lot of damage from Kiaya. And that should be all she wrote for the game, as Kiaya is chasing down yet another target. Lori with no impact whatsoever. That's a good Jax performance from the side of Kiaya. As I said, the Baron is right there. That should be game.
Yeah, that's just absolutely game. There's nothing they can... Wales just give it up. They just give up everything. They don't even attempt to push into the river. They don't even attempt to flip for the Baron on the cross side. They're just scattered. They don't know what they're doing. I think, yeah, it's kind of alright, we tried this funny thing, it didn't work, and you can't engage onto a Wukong like that. It doesn't work. And like, because of that, you had no right to even turn around and threaten a re-engage. You just had to run. You just had to leave.
That Kiaya ultimate damage is insane to me. That was like 300 on one button press? Wow, yeah. Okay.
Jax needs a little bit of a look in it. I don't like this new ultimate. It does too much.
Yeah, it's quite scary, definitely. But I want you to cast your mind back to the days of luxury. I know it's a painful memory for the most part, but luxury.
Which version?
Winter luxury, when they went 6-1 in round 1, number 1 team of the league, or number 2 behind Cerberus. They proceeded to get tilted and lose every series for like a month straight. as Nagia just
Oh,
goes down, who
good
cares?
idea.
So do you think those tendencies are things that Killer Queen and Glory still carry? Or Killer Queen, because Glory wasn't
Well,
on that team. But
Glory wasn't on that lineup, but no, I feel like a lot of the deaths from Glory, at least, were a little bit of I'm trying to save the game, and there's some of it was a little bit silly. Some like the ones in mid lane where they just tried too hard to force onto Cardi, but yeah, I don't know, a little bit of misplay, just a little bit of not quite getting everything together for this game and not quite being comfortable. It doesn't help that B was absolutely invisible as well. Nagia went for this pick with the Darius and that didn't work either. It's kind of just a full team collapse, so I'm not gonna say it's a luxury angle.
yeah,
At this stage,
we'll have to wait and see for the next game, because this one was a stomp in GAM's favor. They strike back with a blue side victory and equalize the series. It's 1-1 in our match of the week. We have one more to go. One of these teams is going to walk away with a 3-0 start to the season, and GAM just stamped their authority on this league again. But they need one more win to actually overcome the Wales, and Wales is probably back on blue side, so there's some hope for this team to be able to regroup, forget about this stomp, and pick a slightly less volatile composition.
Yeah, I think going for a bit more standard meta would be a little bit easier for the side of Team Wales this time. And oh, good lord, Cardi, just a big middle finger out there on the damage charts, because goddamn, almost double the next closest person, and just yeah. They tried something a little bit spicier. It fell apart almost immediately, and Team Wales just sort of kept throwing themselves at GAM and until they lost, which is why it's 17-2. It's in 24 minutes. That's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, and Wales certainly a team in the past as well that tries to go for like spicy compositions, especially if they win the first game. So I just hope they regroup and play a more standard style, because I think this series deserves a conclusion that doesn't go 24 minute stomp. I would like to see another big, contested, very close and tense game for the third one. But GAM looked very impressive, especially after losing that very long, extended game in game one. They came back and stomped them to the ground with another Varus first pick, actually. So certainly didn't change their strategy too much. Kati Oriana, a little bit of a feature, and the big one is maybe the Wukong. So we have to see how are both teams going to play around this monkey in the jungle.
Yeah, I'm thinking this. I think Sejuani might be absent in game 3 because teams are just, or Wukong hits the ban list, one of those two. Because I feel like the teams are just not quite as comfortable, and in this series, at least today, the series meta saying, okay, Sejuani's kind of not doing anything. It's kind of feeling a little bit absent. I have to say, both times Levi's just kind of had Killer Queen's number in that it's been Levi sort of dictating where he's going and Killer Queen reacting to that. So shout out to Levi. He's still a fantastic jungler, but
Still got it.
Yep.
6 titles.
Still good.
Vying for his 7th, and he's coming to life in this series. Now we have one more to go, and we are going to head to a quick break and come back with game number 3, the deciding game in this best of 3 between the two best teams so far in the league. Both came in with a 2-0 and 4-0 game score. Both have won one game in the series on blue side. Wales back on blue side for the next one. Let's see if they can beat the behemoth that is GAM. Stay tuned. Well, I forgot to unmute us, unfortunate, but you can see the draft as we're back for Game 3, unbelievably fast, into the draft right here as we see Team Wales once again first picking the Annie, so no adaptation on the red side strategy for the side of GAM.
There is one. Varus is banned, just taken away, do not want that in Styles' hands anymore. They've decided that they have had enough of that lane priority. And they've decided that, and GAM meanwhile have decided that Jax and Wukong have worked out so well, they're just going to slam those first rotation. And now what is Wales' response? The Sejuani wasn't so hot last time. Elise is available if they want to go that route. Or Killer Queen could reach into his pockets and pull out a classic.
Killer Queen
there
Lee
we go.
Yeah, he didn't want to go back to the Sejuani as it didn't work last time, but the K'Sante is back, and Nagia's first game was amazing. So Killer Queen and Nagia already going back to comfort. We also still have the possibility of a flex for the Annie, right? Last time we saw B piloting it to great success in team fights, but it could still also be a glory champion.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's definitely a champion we have seen. I mean, yeah, we definitely mostly see it in the mid lane. B ran it fantastically. And the Rise lock-in from Carti, just drafting in order. This is one of the first drafts where you don't actually see any bot laners until second rotation. Caitlyn taken off the board. Lucian and Zeri are probably set to follow, though you can realistically just, if those get left open as trades, I don't think either team is particularly upset with that.
This time we have the Caitlyn taken away from Vit. He had a great game in Game 1 in team fights, stayed very far back, stayed safe, let his top side do the carrying, but dealt decent DPS. Now he has to go to a different champion. Zeri still open. Zeri kind of low priority today, which is a little bit surprising, but good to see for us casters, because no one wants to cast Zeri 5 times in a row. So Lucian is still on the table. Lucian Army, Zeri Lulu, all of these combinations still available.
Taken off board, just seems to be the target. Really seems to be the big priority of the champions. So I think realistically we're just going to see another ban of an 80 carry come through, maybe an Aphelios ban, and then just sort of try and force that Lucian Zeri trade with their respective enchanters. Which could be interesting. Which could be fun to see, but yeah, Donga taken away. Big priority support. just now it's just up to Star to decide which one he wants, and he picks the Zeri.
He does want the Zeri.
Sounds fine to me. It makes a lot of sense. Zeri would have probably been a lot nicer for Wales' composition in terms of having that consistency to finish off the team fight, to run cleanup. Whereas now, if they go Lucian Nami, they are indexing heavily into the full burst sort of window composition. Aphelios is still an option. Was not on the buffed patch yet, but definitely was still viable. But no, just gonna see those spot lanes traded.
Hey, how exciting! After all these bans on ADCs, we end up with Lucian Army against Zeri Lulu. Trust us, people. We didn't first pick the Lucian Army and Zeri Lulu. They were actually not the first choices of the team, but we still end up there. So unfortunately, we have to conclude the day with yet another installment of Lucian Army versus Zeri Lulu. So far, I think we've seen Zeri Lulu get the better of them more often than not, especially in the VCS. So maybe that's already a sign that GAM has come out of draft in the superior position. What would you say? Which team did you favor?
I definitely sort of favor GAM's draft pretty much front to back. I think the mid lane, the Annie could definitely make something happen, and Annie Lee Sin can absolutely change things up, but just on a straightforward level, it's so easy from GAM. They have absolutely everything they want. But it's it's going to be up to big plays from the individuals from Wales, I think, to turn this one around. And I mean, they have the tools to do it. Lee Sin, Annie, K'Sante, hell, even Lucian. I mean, they're all great champions, and just isolating and finding picks that that can turn into objectives or big team fights.
And as we load into the game soon, I want you to tell us a tale about Killer Queen's Lee Sin.
Oh, good lord, Killer Queen's Lee Sin. This was a fun one a while back. It was a champion that was absolutely insane. For a while, I think at one point it was a case of if he had Lee Sin, his team would win. If he didn't, they wouldn't. But he was absolutely just insane, and it's perfect for his playstyle. Hyper aggression, try and find and duel the enemy mid laner, be in and out of their jungle constantly. I mean, it's a little bit hard for me to just sort of say, yes, Killer Queen's Lee Sin, because my mind of Killer Queen is always talent. But we have fantastic Lee Sins in the VCS, and Killer Queen is one of, if not the best.
Yeah, I remember a time where every single Q would land. Like, not for one game, for weeks on end. Every single Q he threw was just heat-seeking, so his highs on Lee Sin, his mechanical ceiling on this champion is certainly up there. And I'm excited to see if he can bring it to this game and maybe turn it around here.
Killer Queen has 30 games on Lee Sin in the VCS at a 56.7% win rate. And he has been on middling to bottom teams for the majority of his time. So that just lets you know that when he gets this champion, he tears up the Rift. I am very excited to see this pop up, him back on this champion. I missed Lee Sin a little bit. I'm very ready to see what Killer Queen can put this champion to use.
Yeah, it's one of those champs, just like Orianna in the last game. When you see them every game, they get boring, but if you don't see them at all, you kind of miss them, especially the Lee Sin with all the playmaking. Very good trade there from Nagia, getting the better of Kiaya. With the rune choice, he should also be the one winning most of these trades, because of course Grasp into Lethal Temper just gives a little bit more oomph to those auto attacks in the early game. So I expect Nagia to have the better end of those trades. We see Wales actually winning some trades on Nami against Lulu. This has not happened in ages.
Yeah, they're getting pushed in at that level 1 like you expect, but once they hit level 2, they just jumped straight onto GAM and made sure that they put a little bit of the fear of God into him now. Killer Queen is spotted on a ward, but they can still put out so much damage and make GAM sweat a little bit and get some control back of this lane.
B traded very heavily there, gets the better in terms of HP, but had to invest a lot of mana. Fortunately for him, this time he didn't go for the Relic Shield. We didn't see the Relic Shield Nami we saw in the first series, so his mana should be alright. With a little bit of time, Spell Thieves does contribute to the mana pool quite a bit. But trading across the map, we see a lot happening in the top lane here, you know? So be careful, Nagia has the Q stacks, but doesn't actually make use of that.
Yeah, very well sort of playing out the mind games well on that on the Q3. Levi, we saw poke his head into that jungle of Killer Queen, but now Killer Queen's just sort of assisting his bot lane, letting them get that push into turret, let those good resets come on through, and with the sort of lane pressure this early from Team Wales, I can see the angle where that early Dirk that is almost certainly going to come out of it can actually be put to use, because if
hopefully
they're not just getting pushed in forever, they are just doing damage. Yes, Vit, you're my favorite!
No Dirk for Vit! Oh! It has just risen up the ADC rankings from Marby to number, I don't know, from number 8 to number 5 maybe? But
come on. Slows is in the league.
Oh yeah, you're right. Slows hasn't looked great. But I want to pick your brain about one thing that I've seen the VCS do more than any other league. We're fully in the Squirtle meta, and I'm not entirely sure why. Can you explain to me why everyone is going blue smite item now?
Good question. I mean, green did get nerfed fairly heavily by the time 13.3 rolled around, but I don't think that it's definitely not been run out of the game. It's definitely I can definitely see it on the angle of champions that want to sort of spring from brushes, like the Wukong, like the Lee Sin. Oh, as Levi is here, but Kiai
Okay,
so
Nagia.
already. Oh my goodness!
He goes all out on Levi.
Level 6.
Can he chase him down? That's a double kill potentially. Nagia
Kill
on his
away.
best champion again. Nagia is insane! The best top lane of the league, maybe? What a performance back-to-back on Cassandra and Kiai playing with fire there way too much. Wanted to set up the bait, wanted to set up the kill, and it backfires horribly. He is back.
Just absolutely insane. Completely dominating this lane, of course, but when he sees that has come around, these passive trades, has been doing so much, knows that the flash Q auto with grasp is enough, and then that's enough to level him up. That lets him pull Levi into danger, and then gets that knock up as well, and Killer Queen coming in to get that slow means that the flash from Levi was worthless, and it's just beautiful play out of this top laner. I'd give this man Kazante every game. I'm so ready for this.
Very impressive.
We love to see tanks succeed, because I do at least.
Tanks XD. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm still not really ready to call Cassandra a tank. It's just, come on. He builds tank items, but he sacrifices his HP bar and his tank stats for damage later on. Is that really a tank? Come on.
I just remember, like, when Cassandra was still merely a number of words on a page talking about his thematics, and they said he has these tonfa that he breaks into swords, and my mind was like, that's not going to be a tank, is it? That's definitely not going to be a tank.
Yep.
No, it was not a tank. It was this fella. And, hey, you know what? He has been fun to watch now that he's been tuned down a little bit.
Absolutely. I actually like this champion a lot. I don't actually think it's over-tuned or overloaded. It's once you understand him, he actually has very clear, defined strengths and weaknesses. His laning phase is still very obnoxious, and his ability to escape situations is almost unrivaled, but in teamfights he's not that easy to play. Even when Nagia was super far ahead in game 1, his team fighting had to be very delicate. He can't overextend like any other tank. Oh, this is dangerous. Nagia gets baited, but he still gets the kill. Oh my god, the damage is insane. He's alive. Look at him go.
It wasn't a bait because the squad arrived. Killer Queen and Glory came in and picked up another one. It was actually insane. They called off the dive, and it still sort of looked like a bait because the all-out went through the wall straight into Cardi's arms.
How many stacks of Uno cards are we playing with here? Because that was at least 2 Uno reverse cards. Like, you can't tell me that was... Holy, GAM waiting for the bait, but then getting baited in by the rotation from Wales. And Nagia, I mean, it's just perfection. If Kiai was alone, this would have been the easiest solo kill of all time. He still gets the solo kill, and then Glory is here, Killer Queen is here. And how does Nagia survive? That's some of that tankiness.
B came along and healed him. I didn't even notice B was up there, but the summoner heal on the clutch end. God. The Wales just read GAM like a book. They sort of... Actually, I don't even know if they did. They carried and just... Everything fell into their laps, and now Glory gets another kill, so he gets to rush his Rod of Ages a little bit quicker. Well on the way for that Gore Drinker is Killer Queen.
Yeah, and look at the items in top lane. That looks like fun to play for Kiai.
Yeah, Nagia already has his Frozen Fist. He's living the dream. He's having a good time. He can just clap his Tonfa into Kiai's face over and over again.
Ow.
Kiai just cannot dodge a Q. I think he's going to find a Rift Tower in his lane very shortly.
Yeah, I think Kiai is not even too sad about that, because getting a longer lane to farm and just getting away from Nagia as quickly as possible is probably something he wants to do.
That's true indeed. And as we've seen, the rest of the map has just kind of worked out even. There's a small lead for Cardi and CS, but that's made up for by the kill. The bot lane is kind of just only a few CS apart, but the first strike is probably making up for that in some regards. So nothing.
An amazing start,
but
especially if you
Nagia.
consider how the last game went for Team Wales. They got stomped in almost all the lanes, so getting back to blue side, resetting their mental, and off to a 4-0 kill lead with a dragon as well. This is even better than game 1, where they had the kill lead, but lost all the objectives. In this game, they're getting everything, objectives and kills, and they're up to a 2k gold lead. This could go horribly wrong for GAM as well. If this backfires, this play, the game is probably over. They need to be very careful.
I think, yeah, this is going to be hard for Team Wales to pull off. I think it's... Oh, never mind. We don't get to watch bot lane because Nikki has gone to kill Kiaya again. Just he's one more down. And he has the flash. Actually, that's an interesting adaptation. He went for flash this game.
True, yeah. Last time he went Ghost, I think it's probably a matchup thing, because he had a different matchup the last time they played.
Yeah.
Disengage there. Levi is still lurking around. If there's another wave crashing in the tower, that could be... Oh, that's the ward spot. Killer Queen going there. Yeah, that's a big shutdown for Kati.
And Glow's just gonna walk away.
And we're right back in there. The chaining of CC, it's so beautiful. Once again, Killer Queen and B together, and now another kill. Kiaya's here, Kiaya's here. What is Kiaya doing over here? He gets a kill.
He gets a kill, but that's fine. It was a 2-for-1 in the bot lane trade overall. Oh no, can Kiaya go more? Can B land the bubble? He misses.
TP.
Oh no.
Chase down as possible. There's a shield on Vid. Oh, the minion block! That's... Oh, I would stop the game there. That's insane. That minion saved Kiaya's life. Holy.
Yeah, minion sus. Just, can we act a knife just to kill that one minion for upsetting Vit? Yeah, okay, so across the way, lots of kills. You see this one, just Kiaya just cannot stand up to Nagia at all. He's gonna get the kill, and then Cardi is going to make his way up.
Okay, I want a statistic here, or your prediction. Oh, this is not very interesting. Nagia is way too low to fight. What do you think? Has Nagia dealt more damage to himself with his ultimate so far in this game, or has Kiaya dealt more damage to him?
At this point in the game, I still would give it to Kiaya, but it's gonna get there soon as...
Ooh, Killer Queen.
This was just perfect. Absolutely. I thought it was just a little bit of a vision thing where it's like, oh, he landed the bubble into the kick and the bubble stuck around a bit, but no, B is just a god. B and Killer Queen have perfect synergy, and they're gonna donate this tower to Vit.
That's remarkable, isn't it?
Feeling happy, and oh my god,
the synergy between support and jungler already. If you consider this is a new team, these players have never played together, and if I had to guess, B was probably not too fond of the way Killer Queen played the last time when they played against each other, because Killer Queen was kind of just running at stuff. So seeing this kind of synergy between those players already is really impressive to me.
Yeah, honestly, overall, this team has come together great. We look at that last game, and even though it looked really sad that they just sort of gave over everything, I think it might have been actually really important towards them. So instead of investing in a game that was already lost, they just said, all right, that's fine. We have game 3. We're going to kick their ass in game 3. And boy, howdy, have they done that. Or at least made the attempt so far. They still have to close it out, of course. 2,000 gold in the lead. Slipped a little bit after the sort of bot lane play. Brought a kill into Kiaya's pocket.
Yeah, and remember, there's only one kill on Kati, where there was a 700 gold shutdown. Kati is actually ahead in levels compared to Nagia, who has had an amazing game. But if you look at the CS, that makes sense, because he's sitting at 170 at 14 minutes. Kati does not want to lose this map. Yeah,
Kati's just gonna very quietly scale up into a late game menace on this rise. Gonna be really hard to kill as well. But now, lots of gold has been funneled onto Vit, who has forgone any sort of silly Dirk nonsense and is just rushing towards his items. That's why he is able to be so far ahead of the curve onto style. We love to see it. He's going to grab, and they're going to use this position to grab Rift Herald, and from there, next Dragon will be important. Mountain Rift will be huge for both of these teams. And if
Cassante.
they can just walk this down and crack open a mid lane tower, that'd be great, but still have to deal with the problem of a side lane Rise being a nuisance.
So, let me ask you a question. You find yourself down with this Jax now. This Jax is completely useless. You can never even enter lane into Cassante, so you constantly have to be careful with your lane assignments. How do you make use of this Jax later on in the game? Because, I mean, at some point he's gonna scale, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of an interest on what he chooses to build, because if he chooses to go sort of just say, okay, look, I've been set so far behind, I'm going to build a lot of these more tanky bruiser items and not look to be the big carry and just try and get a good counter strike and ult into the backline. Maybe he picks up a Zhonya's second, maybe he picks up a Frozen Heart, these sort of things. It's fairly easy to see where he lands. If he wants to try and scale properly, he's going to have to build a little bit more carry, and that leaves him very susceptible to, Nagia and Glory having their way with him in a side lane if it gets to that point.
Yeah, I'm worried about Kiaya's Jax, because not only is he behind in kills and experience, he's also only on 116 CS, so he's not really keeping up with all the other players in terms of gold income, and we'll probably spend the next 10 minutes in a side lane just slowly trying to pick up some items, so it's now on Team Wales to accelerate the game with a much, much stronger core of 5 players.
Yeah, they're just gonna try and ram this down mid lane, gonna get that second charge. Shouldn't be able to get the tower. Okay, yes they are. Glory goes right into it.
Look at Nagia. Oh, he overstepped his welcome. Did he? No, he gets out.
I think Style dashed in. Okay, here's Cardi. He's going to try and clean it up on the back end, but he just can't get through the tibbers.
Okay.
And
Nagia's Cassante has to be permabanned. This is insane. He didn't even flash. Marby, he has his flash ready.
He still has flash. Okay, now Kiai's just like the... And I think it sort of falls apart here because Style, I think dashes the wrong way accidentally. Oh no, he was kicked. Okay, I didn't see Killer Queen kick him into the wave. Absolutely, just peak combination. This Nami and Lee Sin playing together perfectly. Man, this combination is absolutely insane. We talked up the Lee Sin, but it is delivering, finding great angles in these plays, and being teamed up with B's absolutely stellar Nami. Just a complete turnaround compared to the one we saw in Series 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
It's good to see good Nami play, no? People always act like Nami's always look the same, but it's so not the case. Nami actually has a pretty high skill floor, I'd say. So bad Namis will just look terrible. This Nami is definitely not one of those. And what a performance so far in the early game for Team Wales. Now 18 minutes in, they're going to pick up their second dragon off to 3k gold lead to start this slow fight towards closing out the game.
They're still kind of losing out a little bit of gold, bleeding a few side lane turrets to this Rise. It was sort of a problem they faced in Game 1 as well, but it shouldn't be too bad now that the two side lane outer turrets are gone. It's not quite as easy for them to push up and take for free. So
what can Carti do in this game? Once again, I have to cast your minds your eyes to that Carti scoreboard, because he's 244 CS at 19 minutes. He's putting in a Chovy kind of performance. He's on 2 items already, 2.5 items with completed boots and almost stacked up Rod of Ages. He's close to level 16 at 20 minutes in the game on the Rise. So if anyone can carry this game for GAM, it might be Carti.
Oh yeah, it definitely has to be Cardi, and if he finishes off that stopwatch, he's just going to be insanely difficult to burst down in time to really deal with. And if they focus all their burst on Style, they will almost certainly kill him. But then, will they have enough to deal with Carti in the back end, and will they even have enough burst to kill Carti through all his defensive stats?
Look at his HP bar.
It's so big. Seraphs and Roa are just so strong right now, and I think we're just fishing. If that Killer Queen angle comes through, that's the way for Wales to that's the way for Wales to close it out cleanly. But Cardi is going to be a menace because it's a very short-range composition. They have to get close to him, and he can throw those overloads and spread them across the team, and just so much damage. So much damage.
He might be able to make the game much closer than it is on the surface level, because, yeah, he's such a strong rise, so accelerated as well. And the next team fight, very likely around the Dragon in 3 minutes. Do you want GAM to fight for that? Do you want them to scale a little bit longer? What's your kind of call in this situation here?
I'm on the position that you should, posture. You should definitely posture for it, but I wouldn't be. But don't force a fight if you can't take one, if you don't find the angle, because if you can get in and chase Wales away and pick up a Mountain Soul, that's fantastic. Mountain Drake, rather, not Soul yet. That's fantastic for you, but it's not worth throwing the whole game over in a fight after all. So just keep the pressure on Wales, but don't overcommit. For the Dragon is my take on that angle. And
speaking of overcommitting, are we seeing the overcommit on the other side of the rift? They do have good vision control, and Glory lurking around. That's a Rice ult just to spot them, but on the other side, Glory with the engage on Levi. Levi's 0-4. Levi might just die here to Vit. Yeah, Levi's dead. That's the jungler going down, opening up this Baron. And mid lane.
They didn't actually want the Baron first time around. They just wanted the kills, and yeah, they're just going to try and trade it out for turrets. They can get the first one. They can get the second one as well. Hell, they could probably even realm warp down and pick up a third turret. That'd be huge for GAM, actually.
I'm enjoying this.
Teleport from Nagia.
Oh, Nagia, he's the tanky boy. Don't go all out, Nagia. Stay tanky. Never mind. There he is. Sacrifices. Okay, that's allowed. That's allowed. If you deal this much damage, you are allowed to go all out and eliminate the enemy AD carry. Wow, this champion just baffles me.
I just appreciate how you said don't go all out, immediately goes all out.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, Nagia, don't listen to this fella.
He knows better. He knows better. That's for sure. I have no idea what Cassandra does.
Yeah, okay, it just comes down here and it's essentially a 4v1. He just cleans through Style.
Style had flash and barrier available, by the way. He chose not to use those.
Style choosing to ult there is arguably what secured his death, because it meant the turret was going to target him. Which, oh dear, that's just a sad one to make. But now it's Baron on 5 members of Team Wales.
Yeah, and they can easily transition into Dragon.
Yep. They can absolutely pick up this Dragon as well. Just keep pushing down, put all your focus onto the spot lane, maybe kill Carti, which would be a big one.
Oh, Glory wants to go. Oh, that was, we ignore that one. Flash for flash, I guess. Good trade. Nagia. Did you just flash as well? What is happening? Wales is kind of losing their mind here.
That's too much!
Definitely too much. His style is now unleashed. He doesn't really have the damage, though. Yeah, they walk away with the tower. That was a bit too hard to Team Wales. Calm down there a bit, but they still walk away with the tower and the dragon. They need to be careful not to bleed too much gold on the other side, though, because Giaya, secretly, on the other side of the map, actually walked away with an outer turret.
Yeah, Giaya and Levi just went for that mission and picked that up. It's a Spear of Shojin for Giaya, so he is going to actually be dealing a decent amount of damage in the back line if he can find his way in. And GAM have done their best to keep the gold at about 3k. As Baron is not really they're not getting the most out of this Baron. They need to just pivot to the top side now. But they don't want to just trade 1-for-1 on a Baron power push, right? Oh,
nice.
Levi just steals that one.
And Marby, what I really like about these two teams fighting so close, back and forth in these games, is how neither team ever lets the other team have something for free. You saw Team Wales set up the Baron, and okay, they got the Baron after a very good pick, but then GAM instantly pushed on the mid lane. No hesitation whatsoever. Very good shot calling, very good instincts there, good team training. So both teams are very ready to just strike back and forth and go for the next objective, pivot from one lane to the other and just give the enemy team no time to react. It's so good to see.
Yeah, now this time Wales has to be a little bit careful. Casante's making his way up, but he doesn't have the teleport available just yet, so keeping an eye out where Kiaya could be. Just trying to break this final outer turret, just keep everything out of the base destroyed.
Levi with the engage, but there's Laurie with the Laurie has ultimate too, and that's a bubble on Style. Style out of the commotion. Style wants to chase them down, but Vid is on 3 items and still alive, and there's Casanti. That's a 1-for-1. Style is now. Oh no, Style stays alive, and Vid has to flash away. All out. That's finally the kill, but where does Vid go? Oh, Carty's on the other side, and Vid goes down. That's a big fight victory for the side of GAM. But Nagia wants to change that. Nagia gets one more. Nagia, can you do it all? Nagia on Carty? This could actually be a triple. Oh, he doesn't have the... Does he have the... Oh, he does have the damage to kill the Rice. What is happening? This champion is insane.
He's got red buff. He's run out of all out, so his damage is lessened. But he is tankier. Can he kill the Lulu? Or is the Lulu got enough? He is on no health. Oh, but he's got the shield. He's going to... He misses the Q. And it's Sin that wins.
That's absolutely ridiculous. He kills everyone. He kills the 300 CS Rise alone, and then the Lulu chases him down and auto-attacks him to death. That is hilarious.
Oh my god, okay, so that was a really... Okay, like, I mean...
Just the casual 5k damage.
Starts off so damn well for GAM though. So they target it before Nagia can get there. And they do so much damage. Style is delayed a little bit, but he's still
really
able to just stack up so much damage. Glory, yeah, he kind of is in a rough position there, but the fact Style survives through Killer Queen's attempt means that it just works out okay. It means he's able to pick off Vit. And then Cassante does a little bit of silly things. That's a lot of Omnivamp. He's
very good bet spacing. That auto spacing there from Nagia, dodging that Q from Carty, very impressive. And wow, he has such mastery on this champion. I'm not sure if I've ever seen Cassante looking this impressive.
Yeah, he should have left though. Yeah, I mean, I respect Nagia going for it, even though it's kind of like you probably weren't gonna win this one. Honestly,
do you expect the Lulu to win this fight? I didn't expect Lulu to have the damage, but somehow Cassante wasn't able to do the region.
Nagia was not on very much health, and he'd ran out of all out, so he didn't have the Omnivamp in his kit anymore, so Baron is now back up on as a consideration, and just Team Wales instantly on top of it. Levi is a little bit late to the party, but it might not matter. Grouped up in this pit, it could be a disaster.
Oh, we had Baron steal in the first game, if I remember correctly, or was it the second game? Killer Queen definitely got the better of Levi there, but they don't want to risk that. That's some of that B shot calling, very consistent, very, very good to see. Nagia?
Killer Queen landed a Q on Style, but nothing coming through from it. I'm just waiting. I'm just expecting the big insect play. Vit chunking through the Warrior Trickster, which means Levi would have to be worried if that landed on him properly.
Good positioning now for Team Wales on the mid lane for priority on the Dragon. Style, what have you done? That's Lulu ult already gone, and Nagia just buying time, staying in his tanky form. In the meantime, Killer Queen in the back line. Where are we going? Glory still has his ultimate available. Where is he going to use it? That's a big ultimate. Glory, flash ultimate. 3 members, and there's Nagia into everyone. Everyone is going down. All the health bars are going low. Style. Nagia against Style on the back line. Killer Queen is still full HP, but Nagia goes down, and now it's a 1v4 on the side of Team Wales. They've lost the fight. Somehow everyone went down instantly, and GAM walks away the victors of this fight. They're pinging the base.
They can't burst through Style. They're just going to try and run it down mid lane. They have 30 seconds on the next main target, and that would be Glory and Vit. They can't. Can they do it? If they keep the minions alive, they absolutely can. It was a huge fight win, and this might just end the game right now. Minions are alive. Kiai can tank the
turrets. Do it. They can't do it in time.
Okay, they decide to bounce back and just pick up a dragon on the way out. I assume.
Not actually sure about the dragon part.
Okay.
We kind of want to see what happens now on the live feed. But what happened to Vit in this fight? Where did he die?
Yeah, so Vit's just sort of a bit too far out of it. He doesn't have the ultimate to contribute, and he's just trying to lean onto Cardi, but Cardi's just winning, just beating him out in the 1v1, and they turned off style. They didn't commit to either carry, and the damage split didn't work.
He walked into Styles W on the backhand of the fight. Oh, that's such an unfortunate misstep for Vit, because he was actually in a good position to carry the back half there. And the dragon is still alive, actually, Marby. We are still on for this dragon fight. And
Cardi seems to be taking it solo. Or he's just hanging out doing not a lot. I assume he's taking it, though, judging by his position.
yeah, he's not moving. And he is taking the dragon, and Wales not really making any moves towards the dragon. So that goes to GAM. Game is back in a super even state. Who is going to win the next team fight? That could decide the game.
Yeah, it's really just down to each individual team fight. Killer Queen has not been hunting for these flank angles, which I think is really sort of letting them down. If he can find that insect kick onto Cardi, onto Style, he can really make the difference. But he's just sort of grouping up with his team. It made a little bit of sense before, because the idea was the dragon as the main objective. But I want to find these angles. I want to see these kicks. Kiaya taking a little bit of damage. The engage goes in. Vit
is done.
through
Vit
Style,
flashing away. Oh, Levi can chase him down. Vit in a really bad position. And in the meantime, GAM has already won the other half of the fight. And Nagia, he's in there, but 1v5. We've talked about this in game 1. 1v5. Casanti is not the way to go. He's not tanky enough, doesn't deal enough damage. And now the game is just over. They rise ulting onto the towers. Wales put up such an amazing fight. Nagia with one of the best individual performances in the early game we have ever seen. But it is GAM in the end. It's always GAM in the end in the VCS. They walk away with a match of the week victory from behind. Reverse sweep to go 2-1 over Team Wales.
And in the end, just could not find the burst. It didn't come through. They had to over-index into it due to the way the draft panned out, and they couldn't kill the Rise. They couldn't kill the Zeri, and they couldn't find these team fights as the health bars went too high, and just, yeah, a little bit of poor team fighting towards the end from Wales, as well as just not quite living up to the draft. The draft's outscaled, and yeah, it's a bit of a sad end for the Wales squad, who were playing so well that game right until the final moments where it fell apart. But they looked great. They look like they can keep up a form that's carrying them through the split.
I think we learned one thing today, Marby. Top lane doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, top lane doesn't matter.
Like, he had one of the most insane top divs of all time. He killed him. He solo killed him how many times? 3 times? Plus the dive? Plus... Holy, and he walks away losing this game. That's such an unfortunate little loss there for Nagia. It's still so impressive. What a Casanti performance.
Yeah, just tragedy. And look, Jesus Christ, he did as much damage as the Zeri.
His highest damage in the game.
Absolutely insane. Just mental. This Cassante did so much work. Unfortunately, yeah, they couldn't bring it together at the end, but fantastic game 3. It's a little bit of a shame game 2 was such a one-sided stomp, because we could have had 3 fantastic games, but we're going to have to settle for 2.
Yeah, and we have to also look at the stats now. Sure, Wukong looked really lost and useless in the first 20 minutes of the game, but in the end he wins 3 games back-to-back, all 3 games by Wukong victories. Yep. So it seems like this team-fighting focused jungler that can also skirmish quite well is really strong in these VCS extended fight situations. Getting on top of the back line, just delaying the team fight for such a long time was one of the biggest factors in game 1 and in game 3.
Yeah, just the Cyclone is just so strong, man. It's insane, and in the end, it doesn't matter how far you put him down. Levi can with that sort of champion can always find an impact, and he was able to do that in the fights. And even Jax, you put him down, he still managed to have an impact with that counter strike. Just I feel small, minor execution, like not minor, I guess, smallish, middling execution from the side of Wales right at the end, and the composition was just a lot easier for GAM. Yes, it was GAM to come back from.
And
I'm sorry, it's 1:30.
what are you taking away from this series if you're Wales? Yes, you lost, but it was super close, and you played against GAM, the legendary GAM, the team that wins everything. So we're able to challenge them this early in the split. What do you take away? How do you improve? How do you make sure you win in the second round, Robin?
I think you just sort of you just take a little bit, look back at yourself and go, all right, we're still integrating. We're still a fairly new team, adjusting to a new sort of newish coaches, new style, new in-game leader. We will get better, and we were this close already. I feel maybe you're going to say maybe patches will come our way that make us feel a little bit more comfortable. We just need to. I think you're feeling a little bit bummed out in the moment, but you'll look back and go, maybe we would have done it if we didn't try the silly stuff in game 2. Maybe we would have had it there. Maybe okay, we could have played a little bit better here. We could have not flipped so much, and maybe not given up so much side lanes. There's a lot to learn from.
The side lanes, I think, is definitely a takeaway.
There's a lot to learn from.
The side lane was firmly in the favor of especially Carty in this game, and I feel like there was a little bit of a misplay as well, to, being unable to match Jax Cassante in the later stages. Sure, GAM actually tried to always mismatch them, but you could try to chase down the Jax a little bit more and not just be content with Ryze free farming into your super strong Cassante. Definitely some learning still on the side of Wales in terms of late game side lane setup, and that's one of the things GAM does better than any other team in our league. That's just what they've learned over the last few years. Now, if you look at the GAM side of things, they did lose a game, but they still won against B, against their big rivals in Wales. They walk away with a 3-0 score. They are going to play tomorrow again, 3 days in a row, and they have another strong opponent in Cerberus. So what does GAM take away from today?
What does GAM take away from today? It's... Ooh. I don't know. I feel like GAM played very well, played well from behind in the game they lost, and obviously in this last game. So I think maybe you could just... I don't know. Shore up, work a little bit on maybe jungle tracking, or try and shore up top lane advantages, be a little bit
laning phase and top
wary
lane.
Be wary of Cassante, because you're going up against Pun, who is probably also going to be up there on the Cassante playlist. I feel it's so hard to say what does GAM need to improve on, because they're already the best of the league at most things. Just Kiaya don't have as bad a day, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit of worries, maybe around Kiaya. It's the early start of the season, and sometimes Kiaya starts a little bit weak. I remember last year when he had that game against Enper and got solo killed 6 times in one game or something, and they lost the game there. So
that was fun.
It's definitely something we've seen before. Usually he gets back in form, so I'm a little bit worried about the laning phase for Kiaya. But hopefully he gets back in form and back into shape for the later stages when the other top laners get even better, especially the likes of Nagia, who is he just continues to impress me over and over again. So if you have to reflect on this series, give me a series MVP. Who's the one player that stood out above all others if you look at all 3 games?
I want to say Nagia, even though he lost. But that Cassandra was just insane.
Yeah, I don't
have
disagree.
To say, but being in fairness and giving it to the winner, I think Carty. Carty had a great carry performance in game 2. He was a big part of their success in game 3. And yeah, they he wasn't quite as active as I would have liked to see him. I think he could stand to move from the mid lane a little bit more and maybe go for some better plays, especially with that realm wall. But when it came to the damage in the team fights, he was the man.
Absolutely. Yeah, and his farming, just the way he played the map, especially in this game, something that's not super flashy, but if you look back and just check timestamps, and he's at 200 CS at 14 minutes and at 250 at 17, it's just so much power hidden in this champion. No one can stand up to him. He has such a big threat range, especially against Vit in teamfights, where Vit has to dance on the edges, because if Rice hits him with one EQ, he's down to half HP, which happened in one of the fights, and then he just died to some spray damage from the side of Style. So certainly agree with you there that he was putting in amazing performances. And Carter, usually a player who's not super strong at the start of the season either, usually comes together later.
Yeah.
So his form right now is very reassuring.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, GAM seemed to be just trucking along as usual. The loss of B didn't seem to. It certainly changed them, but it didn't hurt them. Not as bad as a lot of people were expecting.
And I think with that, we're ready to close out the day. Thank you very much for joining us. Apologies for the play-by-playing today, because our play-by-play casters, unfortunately, are all unable to join us.
Kind of emergency, yeah.
So, hopefully, we have Milky tomorrow, so you can hear actual play-by-play tomorrow for the games. We have 2 series, of course, 2 more days of week number 2. We have Flash against Secret, should be a good one. 2 decent teams in the middle of the standings clashing. And then, of course, the last series of the week for GAM in GAM against Cerberus, yet another top team. Can GAM continue the win streak? That should be an amazing one. So, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, Marby, of course, for the day. And see you all tomorrow for more VCS. 2 more days. It's never gonna stop.